questions.
Sure. Let me tell a quick story because I think it's a helpful one.
I love stories here.
Yeah, this is how I broke into Hollywood in 5 weeks, which is kind of a crazy idea.
That's kind of amazing, too.
Yeah, I come into town. And so I was 24 years old when I moved to Los Angeles, and I didn't know anyone except for my college roommate and this woman who was a theater producer in New York. And she happened to be in town producing a theatrical production here in Los Angeles. And so I called her and I said, I'm going to be in town and I don't know anybody. Can I come see you? And she said, sure. So I went to her office and I was sitting in the lobby and this gentleman comes in and he's waiting for her as well as I am. And we start talking. And he said, so what's your story? And oh, I'm new in town and blah, blah, blah. And he said, do you have a resume? And I said, in fact, I do, because I believe you should always carry your resume with you. And if you don't have your resume, you should at least on your business card have a link to your LinkedIn profile.
Excellent.
And so I handed him my resume, and that was a Thursday night, 5 o'clock. Monday morning, I was sick as a dog with the flu, and I get this phone call, and the woman says, hi, I am the director of development at Steven Spielberg's company, Amblin, and I hear you're new in town looking for a job. So this is luck striking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the painted door opportunity was I'm open to going seeing this woman who works in theater that has nothing to do with the film industry. And in walks this man and having a great conversation, building a rapport with someone you don't know. And so this woman said, you know, are you interested in coming in and talking to me? Well, who am I to say no to driving onto the Universal lot when I'm 24 and saying hi?
So the drive-on pass, they knew you at the gate, the little guard.
I still have my drive-on pass. It says Susanne Goldstein to see Steven Spielberg, and I never met him, but I still have my drive-on pass. And so I went and met with this woman, and she asked me a couple questions, and we talked about development, which honestly I didn't know what it was. And she said, you know, I'd like for you to cover some scripts for me. Do you know how to do coverage? And I thought about it, and I'm like, coverage kind of sounds like maybe like a book report. I know how to do a book report.
That's exactly what it is, too.
And so I thought, yeah, I know how to do coverage, and you know, this is me being resourceful. And so I said to her, you know, I just moved here from London. Would you mind giving me a copy of your coverage so I can match the format?
Oh, smart girl, smart girl.
So again, it's being resourceful. If you're clever, you can figure these things out. It's not that you're not telling the truth, it's that you're, you know, figuring out how to be smart about it, and you're showing your resourcefulness. And so I went home and I covered the scripts, and I faxed them in the next morning. She asked me to come back. And all I knew coming out of that evening was I never wanted to do this ever again. I did not want to spend a night reading scripts and having to write about them. I wanted to be on set. And I thought, what am I going to do if she offers me a job? How am I going to turn down a job with Steven Spielberg's company when I've been here 8 days? And so I go in to meet with her, and we end up talking, and after our conversation, or during our conversation, we both decided that it would be really nice if we were friends, but working together wasn't the right idea.
Ah, interesting. How'd you come to that?
You know, it was just one of those conversations where, again, if you're open and you listen and people end up thinking you're wonderful, and you end up thinking they're wonderful, because at the end of the day, we're all just making human connections. And we don't have agendas about it. And if you don't have an agenda, amazing things can happen. And so I realized at that moment that having this woman as my friend was so much more powerful than having her as my boss, because I was her peer, even though I was brand new in town. I was her friend, so she could introduce me around.
Right.
And I said to her, and I don't know where this magical moment came from, look, I'm new in town. I don't know anyone. I don't even know what the job descriptions are here. Would you mind giving me the name of 5 of your friends who would be willing to meet with me for 5 minutes? And just tell me what they do. And she said, sure. And this is before email, so she wrote it all down. I called these people and I said, so-and-so told me to call you. Would you give me 5 minutes of your time? And I went and met with them for 5 minutes. And as I said before, if you listen to someone, they love to talk about themselves. They would do that for a half hour. And at the end of the half hour, where it was supposed to be 5 minutes, they say, so tell me about you. And I'd say, well, I'm new in town. I'm trying to establish myself and get work in the business. And I'd like to be on set, blah, blah. And they say, do you have a resume? In fact, I do. And I'd give them a resume, and I'd give them 3, and I'd say, feel free to spread it anywhere you want. And at the end of the conversation, I would say, do you have 5 friends who you think might be willing to spend 5 minutes with me? And this is when was born the concept I call networking by 5s. It's 5 people for 5 minutes. And by the time I had actually been in Hollywood for 5 weeks, I'd met 54 people.
Wow.
And
that's networking.
That was networking. And it's building relationships, and I'm still in touch with a lot of these people all these years later. And at the end of the 6th week, I was destitute. I hadn't gotten a job yet. And I get a phone call from Disney, and they were staffing up a new movie, and my resume appeared in the pile that was submitted 11 times.
Oh my gosh, 11 different people submitted your resume?
for this same job.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Isn't
it's
that-
all because I took the time and made the interest and developed these relationships. And so, yeah, you can find a company. To answer your question, go to monster.com, find a company or an organization you're really passionate about, and see if you can find a way to create what I call an in-person. If it's some way you can find someone using LinkedIn or Facebook or a friend of a friend, or ask everyone you know, don't be shy. Make an in-person and have them build a relationship with you so that they can invest in you. And from there, you can start building out your network of people who work in the business.